Hi, babe. While we're waiting for the neutral red on the cells, we're going to go ahead and make the destaining buffer. And so we're going to make this 49% ethanol, 1% acetic acid, and the rest will be water. So I already kind of gathered all the supplies I will need in here, I think. And so the ethanol and the acetic acid are in these cabinets. So the ethanol we keep in the flammables cabinet. Some here. And the acetic acid we keep in the acid cabinet. We use what basically is pure or glacial acetic acid. I think this is, yeah, that's the stock of it, but I've already made out a little, so we don't have to get out the big glass vial. We have the glacial acetic acid. And so the reason we are in the biological or the fume hood is because of this glacial acetic acid that will definitely not do wonders to your nasal passages if you breathe that in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make 20 mLs total, so 49% of 20 is 9.8, 50% of 20 is 10, and then we'll get 200 microliters of the glacial acetic acid. That's 1% of 20 is 200 microliters. So in order to do it first, though, I'm not going to just stick this down into my stock alcohol, right? And that's typically what you wouldn't do that with any chemical. You'd want to like have a small aliquot of it out. And so that's what I'm going to do is first just pour out some ethanol into a little tube. That way, if okay, now it's entirely too much, but the point is I don't want to introduce any possible contamination into my big supply of alcohol, right? I mean, obviously this is all sterile and pure, but I don't know, maybe some of those markings would come off if I drip that into the ethanol, maybe. So I just don't want to mess around with that. So I'm going to go ahead and get out, and here's I already labeled my tube already for the solution. So we're going to need 9.8 of this ethanol, and we don't need to be sterile at all in here because there is no sterility. Okay, that's 9.8 ethanol. And then I want to make sure I get 10 of water. And finally, just 200 microliters of the acetic acid. I'm going to go ahead and mix that in there to make sure it's all in. Okay, good. So there's our destaining solution already. Kind of mix it around, it's going to be fine. And now we think about just throwing this stuff out. So this was pure glacial acetic acid, but then that's why I washed it off in the solution a little bit, because now really it's down to like 1%, and it's not that dangerous anymore. And so I don't have to worry too much about it. If I'd only dipped this in the glacial acetic acid now, I definitely would leave it in the fume hood until it dried out, and that way when we take it out, it won't like. Again, the fumes are really strong. I don't know it's as strong as some of the other serious acids, but you will definitely not appreciate the inside of your nasal passages if you do that. Okay, and so we will now wait for our cells to be ready.